Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2577 Unable to Exceed the Speed of Light 1. Reaching Mars in 26 days is already an incredible speed. Zhang Yi sat by the porthole, looking at the dark universe outside, and said softly. His hand rested on the armrest, his knuckles relaxed, but his voice carried an uncontrollable sigh. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have dared to even think about it. There was no sound outside the porthole. Only cold starlight. Occasionally, a micrometeorite with extremely high flow speed would sweep past the shield, be dispersed by the shield, and emit a faint flower of light. At that moment, the universe seemed to blink. He turned his head and looked at Ling, who was sitting not far away. Ling was still the same. Her silver-white armor was spotless, and her pale gold eyes were devoid of warmth. She doesn't need to sit by the window or look at the stars. She herself is a kind of higher-dimensional vision. But Zhang Yi still couldn't help asking her, Ling, how far can your Yihan race go in the universe? It takes me 26 days to get to Mars, but you guys can get there in a minute? He said it casually, but his eyes were full of curiosity. He wanted to know just how high the level of a max-level human really was. Ling's gaze shifted over. She looked at Zhang Yi, but her voice was as flat as ice. For us, there is no distance. We are spirits, and we can walk in the ether. We can reach any space that ether can reach in an instant. It's not about how far, but that you can arrive at any place in an instant. Zhang Yi clicked his tongue softly. So, in your eyes, does my speed seem like a snail crawling? Ling thought about it carefully. If you absolutely have to use a metaphor, then it's about right. Zhang Yi. He raised an eyebrow, but couldn't help but smile. Okay, you're right. You should give me a medal for being able to fly a spaceship to Mars. Ling didn't pick up on his joke. She looked out the window as if gazing into a distant memory. Her voice softened a little. However, even if I could go anywhere, I won't go anywhere casually. The solar system is the safest place. After leaving the solar system, there is danger and nothingness everywhere. Zhang Yi blinked. You people at this level would find it dangerous? I thought that after you ascended to heaven, the universe would be full of tourist areas. The universe is desolate, Ling said calmly. There are very few areas that are truly alive and well-ordered. The solar system is a testing ground that the Creator has carefully calibrated, so it is safe here. If you leave this testing ground, it's the same as leaving the protection of the rules. It sounds like... Zhang Yi stroked his chin. It's like a garden that's been kept in captivity. We all grow up inside and feel quite free. But as soon as we step outside, we're surrounded by wolves. Ling nodded. You can understand it that way too. In the past, there were also races that wanted to break free from their fate, want to leave the solar system, and go out to colonize. They even built very large colony pods and tried to travel using ether. There was no further news after that. Zhang Yi remained silent for a moment. No news? Is that good news or bad news? The probability of it being bad is higher. If they succeed, there should be some feedback. Ling looked at him, but none of them came back. Zhang Yi clicked his tongue, thinking to himself that this answer truly reflected the temperament of the Yihan tribe. A single sentence can extinguish a person's hope. At that moment, the hatch suddenly opened with a bang. A girl with a high ponytail walked in wearing magnetic shoes, carrying a half-disassembled energy module in her hand. The moment she entered, the atmosphere in the entire rest cabin brightened up a bit. Boss. Luke Heron's voice was crisp. Were you just asking Sister Ling those vague and confusing questions again? I heard it from far away. Zhang Yi turned to look at her and waved his hand. I want to know if we can reach that level of civilization in the future, the ability to travel freely in the universe. Well, I can say a few words about that. Lu Karen's eyes lit up, as if it was finally her time to shine. She placed the energy module on the table next to her and then moved closer. If we can completely build that planetary engine from the black box, it won't take 26 days. We'll be on Mars in just a few days. Zhang Yi became interested.
Tell me about it.
Don't start talking to me about first-level civilization or second-level civilization right away. I don't have time to memorize your papers. Tell me, will we be able to achieve light-speed travel in the future? Theoretically speaking, it is possible. Lu Karen blinked and tentatively said, the principle of a planetary engine is actually to accelerate the celestial body in a specific direction. The set in the black box is for planetary-level spacecraft. If you shrink it down to the ship level, it's just for making local engines for spacecraft. It doesn't propel the spacecraft forward. It moves the entire small section of space it occupies forward. Doing this greatly reduces energy loss, so it can approach the speed of light. Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow. Close, how close? Theoretically, it can reach 0.9. Lu Karen thought for a moment, then added, it's 90% of the speed of light. Going any higher, the energy curve will explode. After all, the speed of light is a very dangerous step. As she said this, she couldn't help but look at Ling herself. They clearly want to hear the most orthodox answer from the world's top civilizations. Ling's gaze fell on the module in her hand, but she looked at it briefly before looking away. It looks like they're watching kids stacking building blocks. The speed of light is not the limit of nature. It is the threshold set by the Creator. It means there is no escape. We cannot leave this space centered on Earth. Zhang Yi squinted. What's the meaning? Ling explained calmly. All your basic life designs, civilization designs, and rule designs are based on Earth and the solar system. Your civilization has reached this point because you are still within its sights. Going out is like being out of control. It's easy for it to be destroyed, and it's also not conducive to observation. That's why the Creator set the speed of light as a threshold. You can get close to this threshold, but you can never surpass it. Even just getting close to this threshold would be extremely difficult and not worth it. That's why you're too lazy to leave the Earth-centered cosmic spiral. After hearing this, Zhang Yi couldn't help but curse. The universe is so vast, yet we're only allowed to wander around in a small circle. That's incredibly stingy. Ling said calmly. This is about control, not stinginess. Without this threshold, many civilizations would choose to flee rather than stay and participate in the reckoning of the Druckers. The Creator needs you to stay here. So, what we're doing now, exploring the universe, Zhang Yi spread his hands, is actually a violation of regulations. Chapter 2578, Unable to Exceed the Speed of Light 2. Your actions are at best borderline. Ling said, since you're still in the solar system, it doesn't count as breaking the rules. But if you go to Andromeda, it's not just skirting the edge, it's violating the Creator's rules. In that case, you will also face all sorts of crises in the universe and will not be protected by the Creator. Lu Karen couldn't help but get excited when she heard this. However, if we're lucky, we can also use more advanced methods for space travel. The wormhole jumping technology mentioned in the black box doesn't rely on speed, but on space folding. As long as the spatial structures at both ends can be anchored, it can jump tens or even hundreds of light years in one go. This is the kind of interstellar travel I've always dreamed of. Ling nodded as well. This is indeed the best option for humanity to conduct interstellar travel. Billions of years ago, the Eheniacs were the first to use this method to explore the boundaries of the universe. However, later, they abandoned their physical bodies and became completely spiritualized, forming a massive entity with 14.6 billion high-level spiritual particles, thus gaining the ability to instantly traverse the entire universe. It could even be said that when the combination of spiritual matter becomes large enough, they will lose their own will and be left with only empty cosmic rules. That's a smaller version of Kagago. Tens or hundreds of light years. Zhang Yi looked at her and sighed helplessly. Are you sure you want to jump to a place where you don't even know what the air is made of? What if we jump over a supermassive star? We'd probably be dragged in by gravity and turned to dust. Lou Karen stuck out her tongue. That's why I said if I'm lucky. Wormhole technology requires a complete set of supporting star maps, beacons, and energy relays, and we haven't even taken the first step yet. The only thing I can change right now is the spaceship itself. At this point, her expression turned somewhat disgusted. And ever since I saw the technology of the Ihan clan, I really think the technology of the Tsungyuan clan is so outdated. Even so, the engine efficiency is less than a fraction of that of the Ihan clan. The materials are no good, the protection is no good, the redundancy is no good, and even the living module does not meet the standards I saw in the black box. Upon hearing this, Ling finally showed a hint of a human expression. It was a very light, faint nod. It's as if to say, you finally said something decent. Their technology is very crude. Ling's assessment was quite straightforward. Many of them are derived from reverse reasoning. It's like trying to build an entire spaceship from a broken blueprint. Being able to fly is already a miracle. Aren't you two going a bit too far? Zhang Yi rolled his eyes, speechless. The Tsungyuan clan is a branch of the Five Dynasties civilization. It's already quite remarkable that they've survived to this day. Your race, the Ihan, are the creator's own children. It's not fair to compare them. He still remembers how shocked humanity was when he first came into contact with the Tsungyuan clan civilization. Those colossal mechanical life forms, as massive as mountains, and those powerful mechanical demons, deeply shocked humanity in the primitive era. And it's only been a few years? Lou Karen already looks down on other people's technology. TSK, that's a good thing. It shows that her skill level is constantly improving. Ling glanced at Zhang Yi, her tone seemingly carrying a hint of dissatisfaction. I'm just stating the facts. Lou Karen nodded as well. Yes, I'm just stating the facts. I don't look down on them, really. I just simply prefer the technology of the Ihan tribe. Ling looked at Lou Karen with eyes full of approval. All right, you're all geniuses. Zhang Yi waved his hand. You two can continue being the setting team for the universe version. I'm going to take a bath and relax. Zhang Yi stood up, stretched, and then walked towards the hot spring area at the back. Zhang Yi carved out a living area on the middle deck of the Dreamer. There's a fitness pod, a balcony that simulates sea breeze, a gravity-regulated sleep pod, and even a hot spring room. Of course, it's not a real geothermal spring. It uses an energy furnace to produce water at a constant temperature and then uses air circulation to generate humidity and negative ions. But as long as you close your eyes, you can enjoy the comfort of the warm water enveloping your whole body and relaxing your muscles. Zhang Yi pushed open the door to the hot spring room, and a wave of warm, humid steam immediately rushed up to him. Outside was boundless darkness, but inside it was like a quiet spring in a deep mountain. Soft light was embedded in the wall, the pool water was clear, and bubbles were gently rising from the surface. It's impossible to tell that this is in the universe, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from Earth. He tossed his coat aside, revealing his perfectly toned physique, and then stepped into the pool. As his body was enveloped in the hot spring laced with medicine, Zhang Yi leaned against the edge of the wooden wall and let out a long breath. This is the proper standard for a business trip. Who says you have to sleep in one of those space coffins when you travel to space? The water gently lapped against the pool wall, making a soft thump-thump sound. The starlight outside was transformed into a soft glow inside, reflected on the water's surface, as if the Milky Way had been brought indoors. Not long after, soft footsteps were heard outside the door. It's Ling. She didn't come in. She just stood at the door, like a silent guard. She looked at Zhang Yi in the pool, her eyes calmer than could be. Your living quarters are too complicated. Real combat ships don't need these. Zhang Yi leaned against the edge of the pool and looked up at her. Of course we need it. We are human beings, not spirits that float the whole time. You are an artificial human. Although you have ethereal matter like humans, your body composition is not flesh and blood. You can't understand why people need to sleep, eat, take a bath, chat, or daydream. If the entire journey consists of just one corridor and one cockpit, do you believe that everyone on the ship would go crazy in less than 20 days? Ling thought for a moment. That's true. Your spiritual dimension is unstable and requires material assistance. Don't talk as if I have an intellectual disability, Zhang Yi said irritably. I'm just afraid of being bored. He paused, then suddenly asked again. Do you think if one day we really can develop wormhole technology and jump around in the universe at will the creator come down and slap me on the head? Ling didn't even think about it. Yes, it will. But it won't come in person. It will remind you with rules. For example, you jump out and find there's nothing outside. Or, you might spend 90% of your energy only to get a meaningless coordinate. That sounds very much like its style. Zhang Yi sighed. Can't you just let me have an easy time? You've already made things very easy. Ling said, at least you can still soak in a hot spring in space.
Alright,
Here we end today's
that's
chapter. I hope you
today's
liked it.
chapter.
Kindly do
Tell
also
me in
subscribe
comments
to my
which
gaming
part you
channel.
enjoyed the most.
I have to Fina
If you
a way
love
to
manga style
survive.
stories,
Thanks.
don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.